Welcome to Blood, Guts, and Booze.
I'm Olivia.
And I'm Kendrah. And this is a comedy podcast here to frighten you and make you question the world that we live in. So sit back with your favorite snacks and let's dive into this. Listener discretion is advised, as these podcasts are not for the faint of heart, nor are they PG. Hey guys, so if you listen to my last podcast about Elizabeth Smart and guessed right, then you already know today's topic. Today,
I know.
Today I decided to go down the rabbit hole that is the Zodiac. So the Zodiac is probably one of the most famous unknown serial killers in North America, and likely all of our listeners already know of them. But how much do we really know?
I know of the Zodiac. I watched the movie once, but I fell asleep. Jake Gyllenhaal's pretty cute in it. Yeah. Don't remember much because I fell asleep. But I do know that he has, 5 kills? Is it? I think. That's what my coloring book, I think, said.
Well, just wait and find out, all right?
Okay.
So who is the Zodiac? Why has he never been caught? Why did he stop killing? Or did he? So basic knowledge says that on December 1968, California began being affected by the Zodiac. The first murders occurred on December 20th, 1968, when teenagers David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen were both shot and killed with a .22 pistol. But a lesser-known murder happened before this. On October 30th, 1966, Sherry Jo Bates was stabbed in the chest and back. Her throat was slashed almost to the point of decapitation.
Well, fuck.
A letter mailed to the press stated, "Bates is not the first and she will not be the last." Identical letters were also sent to the police and Bates' father that stated, "Bates had to die. There will be more."
Well, fuck.
Which, some people think are the first Zodiac letters before the big famous ones. So the next known murder...
The prequel.
Yeah. The next known murder was on July 4th, 1969. Michael McGow...
Happy July 4th, guys.
Yeah. McGow, I believe that's how it's pronounced, and Darlene Farron were sitting in a parked car in a parking lot when the Zodiac appeared in front of them and fired at them. Darlene was killed, but Michael survived, and although he did suffer severe injuries. 40 minutes after the shooting, the police received a phone call directing them to the crime scene, but before the caller hung up, he stated, "I also killed those kids last year."
Well, yeah. What a motherfucker.
On the 27th in 1969, Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were both tied up, then stabbed. Cecilia was able to give a description of the assailant before she died a few days later, but Brian did not survive the attack.
Oh no.
The Zodiac stopped before leaving the scene to write on Hartnell's car. He wrote, "Vallejo, 12/20/68, 7/4/69, September 27/69, 6:30 by knife," which is the dates, times, and place of previous murders, if you didn't figure that out. The last murder definitively linked to the Zodiac happened on October 11th, 1969. The killer had taken a taxi ride from a man named Paul Stein, and the Zodiac shot and killed him, and then took a small piece of Paul's shirt with him to send in one of his letters.
Ooh, taunted.
The Zodiac is also suspected in 3 other murders around that time. Robert Domingos, Linda Edwards, and Donna Lass, if you would like to look them up. The Zodiac allegedly sent out 3 letters on August 1st, 1969 to the Vallejo Times-Herald, the San Francisco Examiner, and the San Francisco Chronicle, which are all newspapers.
Oh, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yep. So that's where that
and Robert
comes
Downey
from.
Jr.
Yeah. So in the letters, the Zodiac claimed responsibility for 3 of the murders. Each letter also contained 1/3 of a cryptogram made up of 408 symbols. The letters stated that they would reveal his identity if solved. In another letter received by the San Francisco Examiner on August 7th, he again claimed that if the code was cracked, his identity would be revealed.
Do you think his code was created by aliens?
No. What the fuck?
Well, it's a cryptid code. They can't figure it out. What if he had otherworldly beings helping him?
No, like military. It's like military stuff, man. Come on.
Think
Come
what
on.
you want to think.
On October 8th...
Something's fishy.
Wait. That's wrong. Fuck you. Okay, edit that out. The first set of letters demanded that they be printed on the front pages of the papers, or he would kill again. And the second letter had details of the murders that only the killer would know, which made them, believe that it was real. So on August 8th, 1969, a school teacher and his wife, Donald and Betty Hardin, solved the cipher sent to the 3 newspapers, known as the 408 cipher. It was filled with spelling mistakes and has 18 indecipherable letters at the end of it. I will now read the cipher, even with the errors and the random letters at the end.
It's going to sound like you're stroking out a little bit, isn't it?
Perhaps. I mean, Google did not like me trying to type this out because of all of the spelling mistakes, and it was constantly correcting me, even though I kept having to fix it. So this is what it says. I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous instead of dangerous, animal of all to kill. Something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part of it is they, instead of they, that. When I die, I will be reborn in paradise. And they have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to sloy down or atop my collection of slaves for my afterlife. And the letters read EBEORIETEMETHHPITI. So, or Ebiorite I don't know.
Methliti.
The letters did have fingerprints, but they did not match in any of the existing criminal files at the time. But I mean, also, this is back before, there was tons of really great resources for fingerprints and DNA and all of that fun stuff. Other messages from the Zodiac threatened to wipe out a school bus some morning.
Oh.
And commented on committing future murders. Quote, they shall look like routine robberies, killings of anger, and a few fake suicides, etc. So 9 more letters were received between April 1970 and March 1971, but police were not able to link any more crimes. Then in 1974, another letter only read, Me 37, SFPD 0, San Francisco Police Department. His last and 21st letter was mailed on April 24th, 1978, and stated, I am back with you. So a small fun fact for you in here. There was an officer who theorized that 40 unsolved murders in 4 states formed a Z pattern, or, for Americans, Z.
That's fucking clever.
Everywhere else in the world pronounces it Z. Pattern on a map.
I say it's Z sometimes.
But sadly, his theory was debunked when Ted Bundy was identified as the killer in several of those murders.
Yeah, no.
But I wouldn't put those two in my head as the same timeline.
No.
Some things actually...
He was in the 80s, wasn't he?
Early 70s.
Mm.
So some things actually known about the Zodiac is that he has an obsession with water, clocks, binary mathematics, and the writings of Lewis Carroll, the writer of Alice in Wonderland. Fun fact, Lewis Carroll was actually a suspect in the Jack the Ripper murders. So another kind of weird twist into a different murderer. We also have a generic description of what the Zodiac may have looked like. He was approximately 5'8" to 5'10", with curly brown or light reddish hair.
Well, I guess I'm real dope.
He wore horn-rimmed glasses and usually wore dark clothing.
Oh, I'm rolled back in.
He was medium stocky build with size 7 gloves and size 10.5 shoes, and he had a slow, monotone voice, kind of like how I've heard I have.
I was gonna say I'm rolled out, but you're rolled in, I guess.
All right. So now let's get into suspects. I was able to find 9 main ones, and I'm not going in any specific order here, but
it was Jake Gyllenhaal.
But these are the ones that I found. Okay, so Louis Myers. He confessed in 2002 on his deathbed that he was the Zodiac killer. He also went to the same school as the first victims, and he worked with the second female victim. The problem? He didn't fit the physical description. Next we
that
have...
don't mean shit.
Yeah. Next we have Richard Marshall, and he had training in code and a bad temper with women, but they clearly did not have enough to go on because that was all they had. Next we have Bruce Davis, who was actually a one-time member of the Charles Manson family.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
So another tie-in here with different murderers. No evidence was actually found to link him, but fun fact, every male member of the Manson family was actually investigated and eliminated as the Zodiac killer. Something that I actually learned here, and I'm pretty big in the Manson whole thing, and I know that you are too.
It's so fascinating. I wanted to write him a letter when he was in prison, and then I found out he died. Like, this was years ago, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this motherfucker. Like, I wanted to ask you some questions. I cannot remember them now. I was with a buddy that I used to work with. We got very bored at work, and we came up with a huge list of questions that we wanted to ask, and some of them were really good, and some of them were the stupidest fucking things you could ever ask somebody, but we were curious of what his answer was.
Okay, so the next one was Theodore Kaczynski. Some of you are thinking in your head right now, I know that name, why?
The Office?
So...
Jim?
A name that you may recognize better as the Unabomber.
Oh.
I
was way off there.
Yeah. He was suspected after his capture because of the similarities in writing letters after the murders, but he was eliminated through fingerprints and a handwriting sample. Next we have Lawrence Kane, is a very suspicious one. America's Most Wanted named him as a main Zodiac suspect in 1998. He was identified by 2 different witnesses linked to Zodiac crimes, and his whereabouts are unknown, and no charges were ever filed against him. Next we have Michael O'Hare, and he was basically just a random guy named in a book as the Zodiac with little proof.
It was you.
Yeah.
I don't know what you did, but it was you.
So next we have Charles Clifton, Charles Clifton Collins, sorry. His son suspected him because he read a book that had the Zodiac's handwriting and thought that it matched his father's and that they had the same size feet. That was it. But DNA testing excluded him as a suspect.
What? No.
Yeah.
That's no way.
They wrote the same. So to me, the most interesting suspect is Jack Torrance. And not just because his name sounds so close to Jack Torrance from The Shining. His stepson reported him as being a suspect after finding quote-unquote evidence that his stepfather was the Zodiac. Handwriting samples, a hood similar to one that a victim described, undeveloped film with gruesome images, a knife with bloodstains, and a taped phone conversation where Jack hints that he actually may have been the Zodiac.
What if he was just cutting up some game that he won and got?
Perhaps.
Like, that's a good buck. Let me just cut her up. You know what I'm saying, bud?
Yeah. When the FBI did DNA testing on Jack, it came back inconclusive. So no real answers. So to me, it seems a tad fishy. But several law enforcements have claimed no evidence to support the stepson's claims, and some, if not most, even say that he only conducted the story as a way to make money.
Something smells fishy.
Yeah. The last suspect, and likely the most known if you follow the Zodiac case, is Arthur Lee Allen. He was considered a prime suspect, was jailed for child molestation at the time that the Zodiac murders stopped, and was picked in a lineup by Michael Magau, the one that I can't pronounce. He has been suspected by many as the Zodiac. He allegedly made comments about committing the murders before they happened, twice. He made a comment to one of his buddies about, I'm going to go out and stab or shoot a cabbie, and then it was within a week that cab driver got shot.
I did it, guys. It was me.
Yeah. He also owned the same typewriter that was used to type the Zodiac letters.
God, I want a typewriter.
But fingerprints and handwriting samples were not a match. DNA testing was done on a stamp from one of the letters, but it was also known that Allen didn't lick stamps because the taste of glue made him sick. The most recent update on the case happened last December, so 2020, when amateur code breakers broke another one of the Zodiac's codes, more than 50 years later. Woohoo!
Whoop, whoop.
I remember seeing that in the news. I'm pretty sure you actually tagged me in it on Facebook.
No, I think it was Reddit.
Something like that.
It was Reddit, a subreddit thing, and I shared to you.
So this code, called the 340 cipher, said this. Again, reading with the spelling mistakes. I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show, which brings up a point about me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise. All the sooner because I now have enough slaves to work for me, where everyone else has nothing when they reach paradise. So they are afraid of death. I am not afraid because I know that my new life will be an easy one in paradise death. So, tell me, what do you think? Is the Zodiac gone? Who was he? Will we ever know? And how many lives did he actually take?
According to my coloring book, it was 5, I think. But I actually heard, where was it? A while back, it might have been on another podcast, actually, that there was this guy, it might have been even one of the guys you had mentioned, I can't remember his name, but he did say it was his dad, but even his, facial features and everything, the description was, almost a match. And he had said it, I think it was the guy that you had mentioned where he said it on his deathbed, but this podcast got, really in-depth to it. I also think there was an article I read as well about it.
That's probably the Jack Terrence.
I think so, yeah. And he, 1,000%, I think that might be him. It's the most credible suspect, to be honest. And if it is him, he's now passed, so, if it was him, we're never going to know. And the only way we're going to know is if we actually figure out the other codes that he had sent.
Yeah, see, to me, the top 3 that are suspicious and odd to me would be Lawrence Kane, which is the one that was linked, but his whereabouts are unknown. The Jack Terrence, like you just said, like I said, it seems fishy to me that, there was all of this outstanding, quote-unquote, evidence, but, it just seems odd. But then they also claim, well, his son just wanted to make money, and people do that. They
exploit family members because there might be a similarity between them.
Like that guy last year or the year before there that made that whole TV show about how his great whatever grandfather was H.H. Holmes. Do you remember that show? Did you ever watch it? Me and the hubby watched it, and he was trying to prove that H.H. Holmes was actually Jack the Ripper, and they went through all of this crap, spending tons of money, doing all of this research, and I learned a ton of things about H.H. Holmes that I had never known. And, dude, the guy's fucked. Okay, I will tell you all about how fucked this dude really is later. But, it was, like, right after the first season there ended and they were going to do a next season, and we were both really excited because we were like, okay, like, they're going to try to excavate underneath where his old hotel thing was and see if there was anything actually under there, because it was never actually checked out. And then during that summer of when, you know, we were waiting for the new season, it was announced on who the real Jack the Ripper was, that they had finally figured it out through DNA testing.
Oh.
And it wasn't Lewis Carroll, just saying. Who I mentioned earlier. It was not the wonderful who gave us the beautiful Alice in Wonderland story.
The original video is... That movie's a little creepy. The black and white one.
The 1951 version is my favorite. The Disney
the cartoon?
animated. Love it.
So good.
But anyways, yeah, like, it seemed really that he was stretching and that he was really trying to, like, exploit. So to me it seemed almost like, you know, Terrence's son was kind of doing the same thing, you know. I really just want to exploit this, try to see if I can make some money. He was doing news and, you know, and all that stuff, whatever, you know, try and do it. And, you know, all those people that'll write a book about stuff. And then the other one is the Arthur Allen, because most people honestly think that it's him. And, you know.
Now, if it was, do you think there may have been more child-related things happening if it was? Like, whether it would be like a murder, kidnap, or more predatorial things like he had been jailed for?
See, to me, that's the one thing that really kind of makes me partially not think that it's him, because the crimes are so very different. Like,
well, and he clearly has a fetish for something a little bit of a different taste compared to what...
And most of these guys, girls too, you know, these sick fucks that do murders, serial killers, things like that, they generally have a type. You know, they have an MO. You know, if you have ever watched the show Mindhunter, it's actually a book that was written forever ago, from, you know, 2 FBI agents that started this whole thing about, you know, behavioral analysis and all of that. And they've basically proven that serial killers have a type. They have a way that they do things. So for him to me, the concept of someone who wants to brutally murder, you know, couples at Lover's Lane, and, you know, a cab driver and a random woman stabbing, like the violence in the stabbing and the shooting and all of this code and precise thinking and all of that, but then all of a sudden he's just getting charged with child molestation. Not even like a violent rape, which is what you might think, because, you know...
More like, is it...
It's, you know, I'm fully against child touching in any way, but it's not as violent to me. Molestation versus rape and assault, kind of, you know, those are very different, and it doesn't seem like it would be the same person to me, because...
Well, and if it was, he might have been taking those actions also towards, like, the bodies he just killed, or, you know what I mean, like, little necrophilia if he's into, like,
but there
the touching, and you
that
know what
wasn't
I mean?
in
like,
the Zodiac's profile.
So it's hard to match those up a little bit.
Yeah, there was
more,
no
right?
sexual crime in any of his murders or assaults or crimes. There was no sexual base in it. So for it to be a child molester who has a sexual base, it doesn't make sense, because they're completely two different kind of killers.
His psychological pattern from birth to present at that time, you know, his background would be a lot different than whoever the Zodiac killer is, right? Because Arthur, is that his name?
Yeah.
Arthur, right?
Yeah.
He could have had like a parent do similar things to him, which made him now act out in that way. Whereas the Zodiac, he clearly is a sociopath of sorts who clearly thinks it's a fucking joke to kill people. He's mocking people. Like, he thinks it's funny. And
I'm never gonna be caught.
Yeah, like he's very cocky about it, like, and he's very
Almost
narcissistic,
dangling
right?
it right in front of you.
Yeah, he's like narcissistic and a sociopath all in one, which is a completely different genre of like killer, right? Like there's
they can mix. Like Bundy's a good example of, you know, being
or Dahmer.
narcissistic and assuming he'll never be caught. He was
Dahmer.
so cocky.
Yeah.
Like Bundy was just so full of
Yeah.
himself. Like he represented himself at his trial,
yeah.
all that stuff. But when you think Bundy, Dahmer, like you said, Gacy, the three main big ones that I think everybody talks about, you always think sexual motivation. Whereas
and
Zodiac,
Gacy's a good example of a, you know, disturbed killer that touches children, right? And did things to children. And, you know, that's a good example. Like, if Arthur was the Zodiac, it probably would have been more similar to how Gacy's MO is, not...
Yeah, they're very sexual-based predators, whereas the Zodiac, he's not in my list in my head, like, of sexual killers. He's a different type of killer.
He's a taunting killer. He does it for... He's a hunter, is what it is. He's doing it out of, like, sport. Like, game, like I had said earlier.
Like he said in his letter.
Yeah, maybe it is the guy with the bloody knife then, if he did it like a game. You know what I mean? Like, he's clearly... He's being a predator, but of a more animalistic way than a sexual way.
And I believe whoever the Zodiac is that he's a lot smarter.
And if you're listening right now, we're going to help find who the fuck you are. Maybe not today during this episode.
Perhaps he's dead by now.
But another day we will figure it out.
I would like to, you know, me and the hubby, we've discussed time travel a few times. Like, if
we'll get into it.
Just
Don't
listen, shush, about how, you know, if you could go back and not alter things but learn things, the Zodiac is one of those
the
things
ways of
where
the time travel.
I would just go back, witness certain events. You know, he's one of those ones where I would go back, witness just who this is, and then just, you know, I would know.
1000% I would do that with Jack the Ripper.
But we know who he is now.
Do we?
They have proven it.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, and it was actually their number one suspect back in the day.
Well, then I probably know who it is then, if that's the case. but you know, I would still do that anyways, because, I mean, yes, they might have, quote, proof, but, I mean, it also happened, what, over 100 years ago now, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I'd still want to see if they are actually right.
Yeah.
Because it happened so long ago, it's hard to actually determine if they're correct, even with our technology and stuff now.
So who's your top guess?
This, that first guy that I mentioned,
With the son.
with the son saying on his deathbed. Terrence.
The only other one on the list here that I kind of understand why they would go there is Theodore Kaczynski, just because they have, like I was saying, the same MO. They wrote letters, they were being secret, they were being malicious. You know, they are very
I guess they...
similar in that family, you know. That's
And
the
I
only
mean,
other
if
one I
he's-
can kind of
and if-
understand.
And if he's not... Oh, is it him that they don't know where he is? Oh,
No, that's the Unabomber.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Lawrence Kane's the one that they don't know where he is.
I mean, is he in jail right now? This Theodore?
The
guy?
Unabomber? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Pretty
I mean,
sure he's still in jail. I wouldn't see why they'd ever let him
well,
out.
no, I wasn't sure if he was alive or dead, is more what I meant. But, I mean, if he's alive, I wonder if... I mean, I guess it would be out of...
He is currently at ADX Florence in Florence, Colorado, serving his 8 life sentences. So there you go.
Okay.
And it's the only current Supermax prison in the United States, and it is designed to hold the nation's most dangerous criminals. Fun fact for you.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
I will do a story on the Unabomber one day and his many years of terror.
Okay. Yeah, because I was like, I guess it would be out of, like, limitations now if they were to, like, try and convict him, I think, of it.
I think it depends on the state and stuff. The states have very different laws than us, and each state has different laws than other states. Like, certain states have the death penalty. Whereas,
I guess if he did murder in multiple states, if he did, they would have to take him to different state for that. If we're not correct, please let us know. We only know so much about the American justice system. I guess they could try and, get it out of him if they could, right? Not sure how aggressive the jails are in the States.
But who knows if we'll ever know the Zodiac.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just one of life's great mysteries that we may never know, or, maybe one of his other ciphers may eventually be solved, and maybe someone will figure out some sort of anagram for that indecipherable letters, because that's what I think it is. I think it's an anagram.
Oh, 1,000%. I that's what I've thought for a long time, is that it's an anagram.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be, it's too weird the way it's put together for those letters and stuff to not become an anagram.
I also giggled because it has the word meth in it.
Yeah, meth. Yeah. But it's probably some Tom Riddle, Lord Voldemort shit, where you just mixes...
That's what I mean, an anagram.
That's exactly what it is. You just gotta rotate the words with a swish and flick, right? Just whoosh, and we'll figure it out.
All right. So, our Harry Potter fans here. If any of you have any suspicions on who, tell us your thoughts. Let us know on who you think it is. If it's somebody on the list of 9 that I named, or if you think it's somebody else completely, that'd be cool too. Learn somebody else. These are just the 9 that I found.
Put it on our Facebook page, or tweet us on our Twitter who you think it is. Mm-hmm. We really do want to hear what your guys' theories and thoughts are on this.
Yeah, we want you guys more involved with us, and, I hope that you liked listening today, and next week we will be starting something new.
Yeah.
Where we will be doing a longer episode and a combined episode where Olivia will do her topic and I will do mine. All together in one, instead of us splitting it up each week.
Yeah, we're going to make them longer for you guys, so we can also discuss things a lot more, and it'll be good, I think, really good.
Yeah, but if you guys really hate that, let us know too.
Yeah, if you don't like it, we can go back,
If you prefer them split because you'd rather only listen to one or the other, because we both touch very different subjects.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But we're going to try and do that so that we can be more together instead of splitting it up each week. And then, hopefully we can pump out more subjects and more content for you guys, because then we can
all learn
do
more
2 cases
together,
a week instead of 1,
Learn more together, and
yeah.
It'll be good. Yeah.
All right, so we love you, and thank you for listening yet again.
See you later, Boo Crew.
We will meet you here again next week.
Yeah. Talk to you next week.
Toodaloo.
Bye. Special thanks to Dylan Sears for the theme song and Sally Gunter for the cover art. Support us on Patreon and share, rate, and subscribe to us on all of our social media pages and your podcast streaming service. Do you have any personal stories or suggestions for the show? Email us at bloodgutsandbooze@gmail.com.